afternoon, everyone. Thank you for letting me present this afternoon. I'm going to talk about a product that we've been evolving and a product that is going to make a big impact on Cambria's new financial year. It's a product that most of you are using, and it's a product that many of you have been instrumental in helping develop and evolve into the product it is today. That product is Engagement Pro, or as we now call it, ePro. So what is ePro? ePro is a software solution to a challenge that we see in the automotive sector. We see the challenge has been speed of change, evolving technologies, and a lot of new systems that come to our marketplace that we've implemented. But all those new systems have all these new shiny portals, which we expect busy sales managers, busy general managers to log in, view, action, and review on a daily basis. It's unrealistic. It's not sustainable, and subsequently the quality of the response suffers, which in a sector receives bad press for delivering a bad consumer experience for a modern-day consumer. And we saw that firsthand. We saw it firsthand in a dealer review in Warrington with one of our most experienced general managers, one of our best, Ian Duke. And in the dealer review, it was in December 2016, we asked him to log into 6 or 7 different portals. What was really embarrassing for me is I brought 2 or 3 of those portals in, and even I didn't know how to log in and get the information. And as I was driving home down the M6, I could contemplate, because you could do that on a Friday night down the M6, and I thought to myself, something needs to change. Something fundamental needs to change, not only in our business, but actually in our sector, to try and get all those information in one area. So we looked what was available in the marketplace. We looked at Inquiry Max. We looked at DealerWeb. None of those gave us the functionality to encompass all those things that we required. So we then looked in the US market, more mature market. We looked at a company called eLead1, the leading CRM company in the world. They still didn't have the functionality that we craved and what we wanted. But it was during that research, we spoke to this guy, a guy called Brian Pash, and we've worked with Brian before and some of the engagement stuff that we've done on our own website. And he said what he was seeing more and more of was a lot of suppliers were building APIs. Now APIs, all it is, it means it gets from data from one portal to another. And he said, if you just build a basic CRM system and plug your engagement stuff over the top, you'll have something quite unique. You'll probably have a market leading tool. So that's what we did. We went away, we went and spoke to our suppliers. 3 of our suppliers are American anyway, CallDrip, Contact at Once, and of course Google. They had the APIs there, it was available to us. So it's quite easy for us to actually integrate and harmonise into a product. But the biggest challenge that we had was how do you get all those leads? How do you get everything in there in one place? Because most DMSs and most CRM systems, you can pull down your web leads, you can pull down your manufacturer leads, but actually you can't get your classifieds, you can't get your Auto Trader, your Motors or your AA all in one place. So what we did is we built something called an open source platform where everything hits there, and we got CallDrip to start passing those leads onto the system. And once we've done that, once we achieved that, we knew that we had a product. Before we started building it though, we needed to engage. We needed to engage with the operators. So we set up a user experience group. And the questions we asked them is, 1, do you want another software portal? Secondly, if we could make this really easy, and we had an idea of how we could make it easy, would it help you sell more cars? The feedback was outstanding, yes, we want it. So what we did, we started to look at how we could build this. And it was a real eye-opener for me, because the feedback I got was, this was my login, by the way, to ePro. I can click on the call drips, I can click on the emails, I can click on the calls. The operators did not want that. The operators just wanted one area here where it says yesterday's and today's leads. And they could see every lead that come into that business, and they could see what that lead, where it was in the process. And so that's what we built them. At the top, they have all their emails, so they've got that. Second part, they've got all their call drips. And what they also wanted, they wanted to be able to play the call from there. They didn't want to go to another system. They wanted to play it.
Just responding to your Facebook sort of information inquiry.
Crikey, you're very swift.
So you've got your call drips, you've got a great system, and consumers love it. But they also wanted the facility where they could see their live chats that were just answered by their dealer in one area. So we put that just below that. But they also wanted to see all their calls, of course. And Call Tracks is relatively new for us. What Call Tracks gives you is a transparency and the visibility of all your calls that have generated from your marketing spend, whether it be sales, service and parts. But importantly, it tells you where the call was generated from. Was it a vehicle detail page? Was it the dealer page? Or was it a service page? But not all calls are generated from marketing. There are calls that come into the business anyway. And Chris Taylor and his team done an outstanding job of taking those calls that hit a sales associate's phone and pull them across. Not only the inbound calls, but he'd done it with the outbound calls as well. So suddenly, the dealers had this full, holistic view of all their leads in one area. But we asked the dealers while we were there, how do you want to manage your inquiries? And they actually went away and spec'd this up for us. And they wanted it very, very basic. They wanted it simple to use. They wanted to know how many inquiries have come in, how many appointments have been made, how many were overdue, how many have been punted down the line 72 hours, and how many were lost sold. So we built that. But something quite unique to Cambria, which we are proud of, is an in-market buyer alert. This is where a consumer has already put a lead into our business, and the consumer has then returned to that website. What happens is a text and an email is then generated and fired off to the dealer to say, this hot lead, this in-market buyer is now looking at that vehicle. Now it would be a great time to engage with that guest. But when we set out on ePro, we sort of understood what we wanted to achieve, and we wanted to achieve that our dealers could clearly visualise the guest website journey. They could see how many emails have been generated, how many live chats have been generated, and how many calls in and out of the business have been generated. But by using the latest technology, we were able to track calls and website sessions and match the two. But the product's evolved. Cambria's evolved. With the introduction of Product Geniuses now, we're able to track the performance of how many videos have been sent and how many videos are pending. And remember, every sales lead that comes into our business requires a personalised video to go back to that guest. You can view that on ePro, and you can also view the quality of that video. But something else we put in place, and probably our most advanced technology, is a facility where we can see the consumers looked at the vehicle, we've sent them a video. More importantly, we can see when the consumer has watched the video. As soon as that consumer has watched that video, an alert is then sent to that dealer to say, someone's just watched that, now is a great time to contact that guest. Now is a great time to engage and convert and drive up the sale. And we're really starting to see that now in our business. Over 1,200 personalised videos sent out in August. And we're going to smash that in September. But I've got to say a big thank you to all the guys in the room, because it's your feedback that's really driving this product. Every day we get more and more feedback on how we could make it more useful, how easy is it to use. And some of the new stuff that we put in place was we now get the consumer to actually feed back to us how good the response was when telephone call through Call Drip. We get lots of smiley faces telling us how good, but there's also a quick link to where if it wasn't so good. And actually, now we've got that, you've got that facility to go and rectify that and satisfy those guest needs at the very, very early option of the consumer searching for their vehicle. But I think one of our biggest implementation and integrations was the introduction of service bookings into ePro. This is something sponsored by Tim and Brian, where now you can see who is coming back into your dealership to have a service. You can see when they bought the car, if they're in market, and you can contact that guest for Part X, you can contact that guest to arrange a test drive. I'm just going to show you an event. You might not see that at the back here, but I'm just going to talk to you what's happened here, because we're already seeing an upside from this implementation. This was a consumer who was coming in for a service. Their roof wasn't working, so they wanted to get a Part X on their vehicle. They came in, we gave him a Part X. He then went off to Dubai for a couple of weeks. We chased him on the telephone, sent a couple of emails. Eventually he come back and he purchased this vehicle. Let me just show you what the general manager had the visibility of. He could see all the calls in and out to that guest when it was made. He could see the lead on ePro. Because he could see that, he could see when the consumer was viewing the vehicle. Not only that, he could see all emails in and out to the business, because Chris Taylor and his team again have implemented the Cambria email system 360 into this. So every email that goes up, we can see. But we started monitoring this. We started to look at the responses that we were sending across the group. I'd say it was fairly mixed, and what we did is we got a third party to mystery shop us. And we said to them, we want to do this out of hours, and I just want to see what the responses are that come across the group. Fairly mixed. We had some really good ones, really good. We had some not so good. This one here, what is the minimum deposit on finance? What do I need to bring into finance? Can I test drive this weekend? We've gone back with, would you like to ring us? Not really, because he's asked the questions. We haven't answered those questions. We haven't really satisfied those needs. But what we wanted to know is, what could we do? What could we do to help? What could we do to increase engagement into our business? So we sat down, and we sat down with the dealers, looked at the type of lead that was coming in, looked at how they were responding. There was some really good best practice, and we looked at some best practices across the states as well. And now what we've implemented 12 templates that's easy to use from ePro with all best practice for our sales associates, but also for our product geniuses also. Another big implementation that we put in, again one sponsored by Brian, was the introduction of conversion reports. And this will be a big factor for our growth this year, because these reports will tell us the lead to appointment ratio and the appointment to sales conversion. This will really give us that opportunity to look at that by dealer, but also by sales associate. And a real focus we'll place on this in the ops reviews. Another thing that we just put in recently is that we've now got a link going back from Pinnacle to ePro. Why have we done that? What does that give us? Well, it gives us the opportunity to take, at the end of the month, all the sales and the profit and put that back in the ePro system. Why have we done that? Well, the first thing we've done that for is I wanted to understand, what did the consumer come in on? What were they searching for, and what did they purchase in the end? That gives us great visibility. But not only that, the main reason we put it in place is because of this, one of our biggest implementations to date. This is something called attribution modelling. And now for the first time, dealers in the room, you can see what the impact is of every marketing channel and the influence that's had on each one of your sales. And that attributes some of that profit back to those channels. So for the first time, you've got return on investment data on each marketing channel. So you can challenge and look at that and make sure that you're spending your money in the right places. But all of this is great, but it only works if we use ePro to put orders through. We still have cases where the guest has arrived at the dealership and we've decided not to put it over ePro, we've just gone straight to Pinnacle. If you do that, the experience is poor, because one, your conversion rates will be lower. Two, you won't be effectively able to look at your marketing channels and your marketing spend. But three, if you don't use ePro, you won't see what the consumer's looked at. You won't see the budget that perhaps they've got on that vehicle. And 90% of consumers that arrive into our dealers will have looked and gone through the web and done their journey. So just calling on that information gives you, the dealer, a much better chance of matching the right car to the guest. I've got to say, the feedback that we're getting all the time now is fantastic, and we really will welcome that. And the big one I'm getting asked for at the moment is, when is the price report going to be in ePro? When are we going to get that? It's in development now, guys, and there's two big implementations that go with it. Number one is you set your parameters early on of what stock you want to optimise, and it's instantaneous. But two, there will be a link from Pinnacle back to ePro. As soon as your administrator puts the car on, it will tell ePro, and then it gives you the opportunity to put that car on the website, therefore increasing your speed to market, taking the fundamentals of velocity and improving them further. But as I say, your feedback has been absolutely fantastic, and we do crave that, and we really want you to continue. I didn't write this, someone much more clever than I wrote this, but I'm going to read it out to you anyway. The software guarantees that valuable in-market leads are contacted when they're most likely to purchase. We're confident that the speed of response and integration of personalised video for every guest that has inquired on a vehicle will allow all our dealerships to increase sales and deliver a world-class experience to our guests by connecting or reconnecting with them, providing a consistent contact process, and display confidence that we are maximising every opportunity available in our business. As we know, ePro is very easy to use, very easy to implement, and our sales associates that have trialled it have actually loved the product. They can be experts in a matter of minutes. We believe this innovative software will give our car dealers the opportunities to stay ahead of the competition. But as I say, I want to personally thank you for the input and how you've embraced this product in the system. I think just keep that coming. Let us know what else we want to do, and we'll continue to evolve. Have a great day. Enjoy your evening. Thank you very much.